Okay, well, while you just pull up my slides, I think we're looking exactly now about the big guys picking on the little guy from the UK. You know, they've left me with 4 minutes.
No, you can go longer.
Yeah, no, I'm just making a point.
I'll deal with the heat.
I'm the little guy. But I have flown all the way from the UK, so you will listen to me. Okay, we're ready to go. Let me just... so I know she won't mind me saying this, but this is a real football. So a couple of things that us Brits are famous for. One is the weather. Yes, it was me that made it rain today. I arrived, it rained. And the other is football. So when I was preparing for this little slot, I thought, okay, so weather, football, how can I make it relate? So I'm a massive Manchester United fan, okay? But when I first had my first glimpse of football, I was actually taken by my dad to a Bolton Wanderers game. Has anybody here heard of Bolton Wanderers? Excellent. I'm going to throw this ball to you. No, I'm not. So, you know, when I went to that game, I thought, how the heck are we going to compete with someone like Manchester United? You know, they've got massive budgets. They've got the fittest players. They've got the biggest sponsors. You know, all the players are becoming celebrities. And, you know, you've got Bolton Wanderers. I'm not joking you. A corner of our ground, in order to raise money, we sold to a supermarket. That's true fact. All the players, they loved beer. They were big boys. They were very slow. They were very small. And we had nothing to fight against these boys with. And I thought, so what if we change the rules? Or if we could change the rules now? You know, what if we made the pitch smaller? What if we moved the goalposts? What if we didn't have to run as far to score a goal? And that is kind of the landscape that the small boys have got to operate in now. You know, the rules have changed, and we've now got this great opportunity to compete with the big boys.
There was a great segue into your slides.
Yeah,
that was well
it's just
done.
perfect. I've practiced it lots.
Cultivated spontaneity.
Excellent. Please keep awake, because I will throw this if anyone falls asleep. Okay, so let me just... Are we ready to rock and roll? No? I might... Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, so disruption, we've heard it a million times, right? Essentially, in our world, it's what we call creative. That's a perfect definition. You know, that's what we're here to do. And I think a couple of we're bored of seeing these brands, but these guys had the advantage of being first to market. They had the advantage of having the best tech at their fingertips. And, you know, nowadays, the smaller brands don't have this opportunity. So the biggest thing that you guys have got to fight with is your brand. And if you get that nailed, first and foremost, then you've got the best chance of success. And it doesn't need deep, deep pockets. And once you nail this, you know, this is the real thing that kind of makes everything else tick. It's the real reason why people are going to choose you. A couple of examples here. So Virgin and United are both airlines. I flew out here Virgin, economy, I might add. I loved it that much. I chose the brand. So, you know, two airlines, but Virgin is a brand. Virgin is experience. If you look at the brands on the right, Nike and Reebok, both provide footwear. But Nike is a brand, you choose it because of that emotional connection. And it's interesting to hear some of the stories today. It's really privileged to be in such an esteemed audience. You know, when Chris talks about the Honest Company, you know, that is his why right on his chest, right there. That's the reason to believe. And, you know, I think that, you know, consumers buy brands. They don't buy products. Some of these statements might be controversial, so please don't kill me afterwards. But I think, you know, the holy grail is for us to achieve that opportunity where we've got people vying over our product. And the start and essence of that is by creating the best brand. So, you know, the opportunity is there. You know, it is a reality that we can compete with the big brands. And in a bit, I'm going to share just a couple of examples of where we've tried to do that with completely unknown brands. So, it's no longer a choice. If you don't play the brand game, unless you've got deep pockets, unless you've got new tech, unless you've got a absolute first-to-market product, you're on the back foot. I'm not going to go into too much detail about how we create that. I think the examples will hopefully speak for themselves. But the biggest challenge is, where do you start? And we've already heard about those companies that have successfully found their why, and that's the really important piece. How do I punch above my weight? We advise clients on a daily basis how they can disrupt in order to do that. Big one here, how do we make every pound work like 10? I've got a couple of examples of how to demonstrate that, but we're often dealing with very, very small budgets for these new to market brands. And as long as you are brave and committed to being disruptive, then there's a real opportunity to make this $1 mean like $10. And that essence is creative disruption. Our why is beyond boundaries. Everything we do is about, we don't really give a monkeys about the limits. We want to go beyond that limit, and we see that as a competitive advantage. And the creative disruption is all about getting that little bit of insight and then applying that creativity. So a couple of examples here. So this first one, we decided to almost do a little bit of experiment as an agency and put our money where our mouth is. And we got approached by a very small brewer. He was a failing brewer based up in Scotland, which is the north of England. They were going out of the business, and we saw an opportunity to purchase their materials and their equipment. We knew nothing about brewing, so we had to bring the master brewer with us. And please don't shoot me for saying so. At this point, we didn't really care about the product as much as we should have. It was an opportunity for us to be able to see if we could create a brand that could compete in a super competitive space purely by using creative disruption. So we did this by creating the Handsome Brewery, making the world look better. So this is some of the brand work. And then we thought, okay, we need to run this disruption through all of the brand from top to bottom. So our products, you see here, proudly presented, the Handsome Bastard. So we thought, okay, let's turn the volume up. And we then released the Handsome Fucker. Not to everyone's taste, and the beer wasn't that great. But we created a brand almost overnight, and this operation in 18 months, from not having a brewery, we had an operational brewery. We had our brand in 35 pubs across the north of England, and we'd secured a contract with the Co-op in the north of England. And this was all because of the brand. The product wasn't even that great. They just wanted something different and knew that if they provided that, they could potentially create sales. So the next thing what I'm going to share to you is a lad from Bradford. Does anyone know where Bradford is? Are you a Brit? Excellent. Sorry about that. Lad from Bradford called Afzal Khan. He is an automotive designer, and he wanted an opportunity to build his brand for an equity sellout. Bit of insight was, you're not going to compete with the big manufacturers, but what we do know is that when you're selling the level of cars that he was at up to $100,000 and $150,000, people were treating them as fashion statements. So we came up with the proposition to actually make the road his catwalk and blend both fashion with automotive. Okay, so that was the brand film that we created off the back of doing a lot of the insight work. And again, the result of that is that he was approached by Aston Martin Lagonda to collaborate on their new car design. And more importantly for that, from our point of view, he was approached by the iconic London taxi cab company to actually redesign and produce their new cabs, which are obviously iconic all over London streets. So again, just an example of how you can do that work on the brand front and reposition someone to be greater than they are and compete with the big boys like Aston Martin and Range Rover. Last very quick one. This is a campaign that is literally fresh off the press. A broadband provider or internet provider, startup in the UK, wanting to take on the big boys like Virgin. And Insight said customers are pissed off with bad service. So we came up with this campaign, which was Keep It Real. These guys had a very limited budget and needed to get into market within 3 months. So our Insight program then went straight through to creative production, and we produced this campaign, which is Keep It Real. We ran this ad, which is basically about taking the piss out of the big boys and almost holding the mirror up to them saying, why are you spending all this expensive media when you should be focusing on customer service? So this ad says, we don't spend our money on ink, on fancy ads. We spend our money on our broadband service. We then created these 3 characters. So all you big boys are producing big CGI movies. We created these 3 characters who look like absolute fools on a green screen. Again, we don't spend our money on big fancy ads. We spend our money on providing you great broadband service. This is a good one. No more fumbling with Virgin. Don't be afraid of taking a pop at the competition. But live your brand. We keep it real. They had to live to it. So we did a road show. We turned up at local football tournaments, and we provided free burgers, free hot dogs, and free Wi-Fi. And we talked to the community on their level and helped to launch the Origin brand. And then last but not least, this is just about to go live. So this is an example of making every pound feel like $10, £10. This is a traditional ad play billboard that has been around for years. So if you're going to spend your money, make it work hard for you. So in front of this ad, we've got 349 new customers so far today. There's then 3 guys, again, green screen concept, dressed in Lycra, physically there, that flip the board down every single time a new customer starts. So shareability on social media and maximising that spend for the cost of the adverts, again, a great, I feel it's going to be a great campaign. So in summary, zag when everyone else zigs. Thank you.